So, True Kings. Honestly, probably one of the archetypes I wanted to get the least for this series. Mostly because the name makes me think of True Draco, an archetype that is famous for just sitting on floodgates. And another ban list is coming up in around 3 weeks from writing the script for this video. They have many cards on the ban list somewhere, and this video might be outdated by that ban list. But regardless, today I shall do an archetype analysis on True King. The True Kings were released in 4 sets after each other, near the end of the Arc V era. So, True King and True Draco are often seen, or mistaken, as almost the same archetype of cards, or even the same cards. I mean, many of their support cards list them both. The reason for this is very simple. In the OCG, they, the True Draco and the True King, are the Shin Ryu, loosely translated to True Dragon. They are one archetype in the OCG. It's just different for some reason in the TCG. Here we have True King and True Draco as separate entities. And to be fair, often they aren't played together. But today we'll focus on the True King members. The main ones kinda mirror the Dragon Rulers, as they are big monsters from the 4 attributes outside of Dark and Light: Water, Wind, Earth, Fire. Long ago, the 4 nations lived together in harmony, but everything changed when... oh wait, that's the wrong intro. Anyways, these 4 monsters are all level 9 monsters that can be special summoned from your hand by destroying 2 monsters from your hand or field. That include at least 1 monster of its own attribute, after which they have an additional effect if both monsters wear the same attribute as the True King you are summoning. Also, if they are destroyed by a card effect, they interact with a weird monster that is a different attribute from your deck or graveyard. But we will go more in depth on their specific effects later in this video. Then there is the True King of all Calamities, a rank 9 that is running rampant in the game as we speak. Many people want the card banned, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of them. It's a very powerful Xyz monster which doesn't really fit the pattern I described before. It's basically an outcast within the True King section of the archetype. I won't be mentioning the True Draco monsters, they aren't the focus of the series. I don't want to play them, I don't want anything to do with them. I will, however, briefly mention their spell and trap support. Forge of the True Dracos is a member of the archetype, supposedly, but there's no synergy with actual True Kings. True Draco Heritage is a continuous spell that provides you with some draw power and ability to tribute summon an additional True Draco or King monster. Which isn't exactly great in actual True Kings, you don't want to tribute summon them. Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix can recycle your resources and give you a draw, and gives you the same tribute effect. Draconic Diagram gives all True Kings a stat buff, protects them if they are tribute summoned, which you never do, and allows you to destroy 1 card in your hand or on your field to search a True King. Hey, it's a searcher!
Hey, that's pretty good!
Too bad it's limited. True King's return is, as the name implies, a revival trap that revives a True King. That's simple. It also allows you to tribute summon an opponent's turn. One big issue here: there's no need for such effects in True King decks. Finally, there is True Draco Apocalypse, which can target one other True Draco or True King card, destroy it and halve the attack and defense for all your opponent's monsters. Outside of Diagram, none of these cards really help True Kings themselves achieve their goals. Now, as I said before, plenty of their cards have a place on the ban list somewhere. Usually this means they were strong in the past, or even at this very moment. Otherwise their cards wouldn't be on the ban list in the first place. The most purest form of True King in history is the True King Dino variant. A lot of dinosaur monsters benefit from being destroyed by card effects. Baby Ceratosaurus, if destroyed by a card effect, allows you to special summon 1 level 4 or lower dino monster from your deck. Not only are you getting a huge level 9 True King, you are also getting any low level dino from your deck that you need. I mean, yeah, that combo slash interaction is solid, so it's logical True King Dinosaur was a popular and successful build. Nowadays, a more pure dino variant is the more popular choice though, and True King Dinosaur doesn't really see play. At its peak, the hybrid had access to 3 terraforming and 3 diagram, which was really consistent. Nowadays the True Kings have to do with 1 of each, so naturally the True Kings kinda left the spotlight. Another build that used to do very well is a 6 Samurai decklist using Mariamne. Mariamne could pop Secret 6 Samurai FUMA, which could summon any 6 Samurai from your deck. Being a level 1, it was searchable with the archetype's own search spell, Sheen's Smoke Signal. Sadly, nowadays this, in my opinion cool build, doesn't work, as with only a single copy of Terraforming and Diagram, you can't reliably open your Mariamne. Or who can forget about Yang Xing True King Dinosaur, the deck that took the World Championship in 2017. Sadly, Danglong no longer is legal in TCG, arguably due to a certain Crystron Link monster. There have been some other mixes that also played True Kings, but these were the most noteworthy examples. In this part we'll look at the main 4 True King monsters and the Xyz. The spell traps we already covered, which outside of Diagram aren't exactly that useful. Starting off we have True King Agni Mazut, the Vanisher. This is a level 9 Fire Worm with 2900 attack and 1900 defense. This card requires the destruction of 2 monsters in your hand out of face of field, including a fire monster, to be special summoned. And if both monsters were fire, you can also banish 1 monster from your opponent's field or graveyard. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can add 1 non-fire worm monster from the grave to your hand. So, this naturally needs to be mixed with fire monsters. Its ability to banish 1 monster is nice, considering it also doesn't target. Its ability to float in a non-fire worm can also be neat in certain strategies. Pretty nice monster if I say so myself. Mariamne, the true Draco Phoenix, actually doesn't have True King in its name, yet it is a True King in everything besides its name. It's a wind worm with 2700 attack, 2100 defense. This one requires the destruction to include a wind monster, naturally. If both monsters were wind, you can banish the top 4 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can add 1 non-wind worm monster from your deck to your hand. Wow, that last effect's actually pretty good. It floats into a search of any non-wind worm. Any? That's pretty incredible. Sadly, its destruction effect isn't exactly great, and requiring the destruction of wind is tricky. But hey, I think it's still actually solid. Especially floating is very nice if we're going for a True King heavy build as it searches any of the other True Kings. True King Lithium 2300, True King Lithosagim the Disaster is one of the most hated True Kings. Personally, I also hate it. It's an Earth Worm with 2500 attack and 2300 defense. This one requires the destruction to include an Earth monster. If both the destroyed monsters were Earth, you can look at your opponent's extra deck and banish up to 3 monsters from it with different names. Oh, you're playing like a fun casual synchro deck like TG or Junk Double. Okay, give your Quasar, or other boss, Hyper Librarian and Hulky Fibrex here. Yeah, good luck playing without those. What a disgusting effect. Its floating effect can special summon 1 non-Earth worm monster from your graveyard. Huh, that's also pretty okay. But Jesus Christ, that first extra deck snipe is obnoxious. Certain decks should get entirely crippled and almost lose just due to that effect alone. Very solid monster, its status as being limited is justified for sure. The final main deck monster is True King Barastos, the Fatomer. Whatever you do, don't look up the Japanese translated name of this card on Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki. Yes, I stole that joke from Fafa. Sue me. It's a water worm monster with 1800 attack and 3000 defense. Damn, that's one thick boy.
Damn. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick ass boy. Damn.
This one, being a water monster, naturally requires the destruction of at least 1 water monster to summon itself. And if both monsters were water, you can banish up to 2 spell traps from your opponent's field and or graveyard. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon 1 non-water worm from your deck in defense position. Wait, what? It doesn't even negate the effects? Just boom, free worm from your deck? If only Mare wasn't a water monster. Regardless, both effects are neat. Banishing doesn't target, so whatever you try to banish cannot be activated in response once you decide what spells and traps to banish. And just floating into almost any worm if destroyed by card effect, yeah, I can see how this deck would work already. Honestly, all 4 main deck monsters are kinda strong. Now, the XCs. Rank 9 Dark Worm monster with 3000 attack, 3000 defense. True King of all Calamities. Often called VFD, which is what the OCG name was basically. And before it added translated Adder Pro or Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro for that matter, it was called VFD on there as well, I believe. The material for this card is 2 or more level 9 monsters, basically 2 level 9 monsters most of the time. But hey, wait a minute, all True Kings are level 9 monsters, how convenient. Once per turn, quickie, you can detach 1 material from this card and declare 1 attribute. This turn, all face monsters on the field become that attribute. Also, all monsters in your opponent's possession with that attribute cannot activate their effects or attack. For those that don't know, possession also means cards in your hand, deck, banish pile, or even extra deck, like everywhere. Monsters that True Draco and True King monsters in your hand would destroy with their effects can be chosen from your opponent's field. Oh, you control 2 monsters. Alright, let me declare fire and then summon True King Agnimazut using your monsters. Like, geez, this card is crazy. Oh, by the way, when you use this card, please don't blindly declare Divine. Yeah, it's funny, but cards in hand can now still be used, as they are not changed to Divine, it only changes cards on the field. If you know you're up against Burning Abyss for example, or Phantom Light, it's way better to declare Dark. They now cannot summon their monsters with their own effects. Yeah, this is a disgusting card. Honestly, the biggest weakness of this deck is the ban list. So many good cards have been taken away. Terraforming, Diagram, Lithosagim are all limited at the moment. which makes a consistent build somewhat challenging. Which brings us to the next point, consistency. Without reliable access to their field spell, it's hard to use them on a reliable basis. On their own, they are just level 9s that can summon themselves by destroying stuff. But without a searcher, they are an unreliable factor within your own deck. They also really lack a game plan or identity. As it is, they are just a group of strong level 9 monsters. Nothing really glues them together outside of a singular Xyz monster. And yes, that Xyz monster, True King of all Calamities, is very strong, for sure. I mean, even a mediocre deck like Virtual World gets carried to the top. But is it enough to just create a deck off of it? Nah, probably not. One of their biggest strengths, however, is their reliable access to big level 9 monsters. Decks that need that for some reason, well, enjoy the presence True King brings to your deck list. Also, they destroy multiple cards, which can be a huge benefit in certain strategies, like in Dinosaurs, with which they were a big presence in the metagame. Another very interesting thing to realize is that they do not use your normal summon. This also opens many doors. So they are big monsters that destroy multiple monsters who summon themselves to the field that don't use your normal summon. Sadly, this currently comes at the price of consistency issues. So now I will give my 5 cents. Basically, what will I do with this deck, what would I do with the deck, and what will I be doing in the rest of the Archetype Ruler segment with this deck. Basically, this is my conclusion. How I will use them. If you want to mix them, you must be able to use various attributes in a consistent strategy and a consistent way. If you have a consistent way to provide another level 9 monster, you can easily just turbo out the True King of all Calamities. And that is often enough to close out a match, especially against weaker decks, especially if you know what you're up against. One thing that naturally comes to my mind is 3Xs. A single pop of a BAOBABOON is an instant Cherubini, as BAOBABOON upon being popped will summon 2 copies of itself from the deck. 2 level 3 monsters, Cherubini. The pop of Secret 6 Samurai FUMA could easily lead to a free level 3 as well, in the form of either Mizuho or Shinai. And then the other one can special summon itself, which gets up like a Cherubini without a normal summon. Mizuho or Shinai are also water and fire. Earth isn't a hard attribute in a 3Xs deck either. I mean, Finnish Rhino Warrior is an Earth monster. Oh, who could forget about the Fire Kings? They love being destroyed in the hand. Although they only really synergize with the fire side of True Kings, and that's just one True King, and I want to use them all if possible. Perhaps some World Legacy Monstrosity Turbo variant. For those that don't know the spell, you can target one level 9 monster you control, special summon 2 level 9 monsters from your deck with a different type and attribute from the monster you targeted and each other. With their effects intact. They do not get negated. Mech Knight of the Morningstar can search it, however this would require Mech Knight on the field, which isn't that hard, and a World Legacy or Mech Knight in your hand. That's a bit tricky. Although there are always ways to cheat out such cards. Or what about Generator? Not only are they level 9s themselves, so you know, monstrosity becomes even easier, they also contain various attributes. Also they have access to a really good normal summon, Lobter. Or who can forget about 10 Yeet? They are worms with graveyard effects that also vary in attributes. Their biggest restriction, Ashuna, locks to worms, which is not an issue at all, or Win Condition is a worm monster, although you would still need to look for an optimal normal summon. I already mentioned 6 Samurai for 3Xs, but an actual 6 Samurai mix could work. A smaller and different starter engine from your usual 6 Samurai list, possibly going for different combos than usual. Easy access to a spam of earth, water, fire and wind monsters. It's like a match made in heaven and it's probably the way I will take the deck. Or, you know, Hero. Shadow Mist has lots of ways to search it, and upon destruction it would search any hero. Good normal summons, Stratos is your boy. Got something in the graveyard, Miracle Fusion it away. Although with Malicious at 1 the synergy isn't as there as you would like it to be, but hey, at least that Elemental Hero Core is an easy Miracle Fusion target that just requires 3 Elemental Hero monsters, and is a level 9. Making it somewhat easy to turbo out Calamities. Yang Jing might have lost their big Synchro, or well, it's not really big, it's a level 5, but they are still worms of different attributes that severely benefit from destruction. Probably the best purist variant out there. Summoning a big board is likely not even a challenge in this deck. Something like a Trio King plus another negate or 2 to back it up should probably be easy enough to win a match. Path and Avarice will give you an incredible grind game too. Or how could one forget about Witchcrafter, one of my favorite decks. Decent normal summons, strong bosses to combine with your Calamities that have simple yet effective effects. They on themselves are very consistent. And most importantly, low level monsters that all have graveyard effects that all have different attributes that match the Trio Kings. They do, however, lack a big level 9 monster, so summoning that Calamities you want to have on a consistent basis is another huge task. But Secret Village gives you another great target for set rotation anyways. So the mix is definitely possible. Anyways, those are the synergies that I think are the best for Trio King focused builds. Six Samurai, Young Jing, and the Witchcraft probably have the most potential as variants in that order, although I also really like the idea of combining them with Hero. Anyways, I hope you guys learned a lot about the Trio Kings in this video. Personally, I've been turned into from a hater, I mean the name Trio King made me cringe, it made me think of Trio DRACO, which I do not like, into looking at these cards as really cool boss monsters that I was kind of sleeping on. I definitely want to use some more. Usually in Archetype Ruler I make like 2 videos trying out different deck lists, but this is one of those archetypes where I might take a few additional videos to try out different hybrids. Because I think these guys have a lot of potential, I think I could do cool things with them. But then again, deck showcase always exist, right? And I hope to see you guys in the next Archetype Ruler video, where I will make my first attempt at building a Trio King deck list. Hope you guys liked the video, see you guys next time, Atlas signing out.